The overall response rate was 45%. There was one complete response. There were 16 partial responses. There were some patients who also had clinical benefit. Those are those patients that received stable disease on that study. So when we look at that whole, what is the clinical benefit rate? It was the majority of patients at 61%, which is nice to see in an early phase study. Also, I think very important is what is the duration of response? So those patients who received a response, remember, these are patients that are chemotherapy exposed. So not patients that we should be comparing to the EV-Pembro regimen that is FDA approved in the frontline setting. These are patients that had seen prior chemotherapy and immunotherapy, and their tumors are more refractory. But we had a nice duration of response in patients who responded of 11.1 months. So that was really exciting to see. I think the clinical implications are, well, how do we take this information and then how do we move it forward, knowing that there's another drug in this space that's a Nectin-4 targeting drug with an MMAE payload? And I think the answer is, well, let's look at the side effect profile. Not all these patients are necessarily going to be the best candidates for enfortumab vedotin. And therefore, with this drug, which we call zelenectide pevedotin, is there a way to take this therapy forward in a patient population that otherwise wouldn't be able to get as much enfortumab vedotin due to tolerance issues? I think these are the neuropathy patients. I think perhaps there's other signals as well, though we do want to explore this in phase 3 testing. And I think that's why Duravelo-2 is now ongoing. This is a large phase 3 study looking at two different patient populations so that we can better determine, one, who are the patients that should receive this therapy, and two, who are the patients that could maybe receive either therapy, and how should we select between one and another? So, of course, we're going to need to look at efficacy in that trial. We're going to need to look at safety in that trial. And then we're going to have to make some decisions about how to apply that data in the new landscape with the shifting therapeutic availability of different assets, both in the US as well as critically ex-US as well, with some opportunities to perhaps get to patients that otherwise would not get therapy.